Ashville Weekly is going to come to an end at episode 250.
Saturday afternoon, and I'm in the yard. On Saturday of last week, you saw us pulling off the final bits of the wrap on the L860 and fitting plates to try and protect the tracks for when we're tracking up and down on the new concrete. Tracks look a little bit loose, but we don't want them to be too tight. I've been told that the train, in fact, is going to be on Friday and not Thursday of this week, like I first thought. We'll definitely give the tracks a clean, and maybe we'll pump them up a little bit. Looking around the L860, for me, the L860 looks a lot smaller now. We haven't got the tiny bits out. What does Yanni call this? Shuts and returns. And in these areas, it's extremely difficult to get them off because it's already been damaged. While it looked like it was getting very scrappy underneath, the wrap protected it extremely well. Also last week, you saw us pouring concrete for our neighbours Celtic. Well, we have the final load to pour in there now. A couple of months back when we were selling the tippers, I told you that some of the purchasers were remapping them. Well, one of the lads has sent me this through. They are P410 Scania tippers. I believe this one was a 2019 or 2020. They've gone from 410 to 480 brake horsepower. Now, I haven't driven one myself, but the lads are saying with the additional horsepower, it's doing extremely well. And look at this. When I first looked, I thought to myself, the Ashville name lives on. But then I looked closer, and it is, in fact, Ash Chase Aggregates, which are operating not far from here. I believe the lads are in Watford. I wish them luck. Anyway, with the concrete pour completed next door, we're now moving on to our concrete pour, which is right in front of the silo area. The lads who purchased our Volvo volumetric, the one which we put the new engine in, they've came through for an offer on our silo and our wider but smaller water tank. Not the water tower, the water tank. They've done a deal to purchase both of those. Because we were concreting in front of the silo, we haven't been able to use the cement. So there's probably about 10 ton in there at the moment, which we have to get rid of so they can lift the silo for transport, because the silo weighs about 5 tons empty. But the agreement we made with our neighbours who let us borrow the cement, they are now going to come into our yard once we're completely dry in this area, and they are going to begin to load so we can repay them with cement as opposed to them charging us for it. So the silo and water tank will be leaving as well. And I've sent a couple of pictures of our cube crushing equipment because I believe there is a testing company who want to up the volume of work they do, and they're going to purchase it, set it up, get it calibrated so they can provide more cube crushing services to their clients. And that's it for Monday. It's Tuesday and I'm in the yard. We are mid-concrete pour, working our way alongside the weighbridge. Today, we're going to pour this one and this one over here. We're going to pour 2 a day instead of the 3 which we were. And then tomorrow, we're going to pour this infill piece between these, and we're going to pour one right here from this point, which is the same shape as this one, going sideways to meet up there. And then the day after, we're going to pour the one here and one over there. Now, over the weekend, we're going to dig a trench in front of the weighbridge and pour so we can drive over it early next week. We're going to try to make our way to the front gate in a single line so we can still get into the yard. Because if you look over by the main entrance, if we do a strip on this side, then we can drive straight in, go over the weighbridge, and lorries can come round. Once the strip here is complete, then we'll do the other side, but then you'll be able to drive on the other strip, which will be dry by that point. So we're managing to get there. We're playing a lot of musical chairs, moving everything round, but most definitely by the time the rain and the winter sets in, we would have completed the L-shaped profile in the yard. Excellent. Now let's carry on with getting this one complete and the one over the other side I just showed you. I have just completed my final day of ground school and passed the final 2 exams. That is one step closer towards getting my pilot's license. Now I need to fly solo. That means I need to take off, go around the circuit and land myself. And the next stage of that will be across country. And then I will be a qualified pilot. I find these exams so challenging, but thankfully at long last, I have passed them. While I was doing this at a refurbishment project, there was a meeting up in the loft. Now, you've seen for the past year or so, we've been making the loft completely soundproof with all the double plasterboard and all of the build-ups on either side of the walls. And I've shown you the doors which are going to be in place, which are double doors to completely create a soundproof box. Now we've brought an engineer in because that room is going to be a recording studio. So the specialist has come in and they're going to build within the soundproof unit which we've created. And no doubt at some point when this property is finished, there will be some number ones recorded in that loft. Also, there's someone interested in the remaining Scania volumetric. They asked me how many cubic meters it could put out. And of course, I explained that is dependent on the mix. Because if you're doing a high strength concrete with loads of cement in it, like you're doing a C50, you're going to get less out. But if you're doing a C20 using less cement and you have a lot of ballast on, then you're going to get more out of it. But in that case, the water may run out. So it's all completely dependent. So the gentleman has asked us to weigh the lorry empty and send him the weight, and he's going to make his own calculations because for some reason I don't think he believes my maths. Anyway, while all of that was happening, of course, in the yard, we continue to prepare and we push on so we can pour more concrete tomorrow. You're early?
Yeah, but not as early as me.
I surprised you. What are you talking about? It's Wednesday. We're not in the yard. We're on the road again. Dudek, myself and David have come to look at a project, and increasingly with the build projects we're looking at, we're finding that people with resource are trying to create compounds which mean they don't need to leave their house. A lot like you saw at the £15 million house, click here to watch that video, where Andrew Southern lives. They tried to create all the amenities so they can enjoy life in the house, invite friends around and go to other friends' houses. By that I mean swimming pools, gyms, entertaining areas, indoor and outdoor, and all the facilities that you may expect at a health club. This continues to happen, and unfortunately at the moment, when talking to some of these clients, it seems like this is happening because of the way they feel about what's going on in the outside world. And the newest one, which we are looking at a lot lately, creating subterranean space, underground bunkers. As a fan of the Apple series Silo, this is great for me. But it's a little bit worrying when people in positions in large corporations are asking us to create bunkers for them, like they know something that we don't. Been talking with our structural engineer, the one you saw in the yard when we were building our train line. Click here to watch that video. And when creating a bunker, I thought that we'd go for thickness of walls, which are about 800 mil wide. I am told I am incorrect, and the specification has now changed, and walls need to be about 1.1 meters thick with excessive amounts of rebar. This is so the walls can withstand radiation over a long period of time. You basically excavate, you create a box in the ground, and then you completely cover it over. And here's the key. When you're in this underground bunker, whatever space you create as living, you need roughly the same amount of space next to it for all of your mechanical and engineering. You need an air handling system, which cleans the air and produces fresh air. You need air conditioning. You need to drill to find fresh water, and then you need to treat this. You need to treat the waste, and you need to create your own electricity. And then you need to find a way to join this mechanical and engineering bunker with your living space bunker, but still have it sealed at exactly the same time. So it's exciting for us. This is the sort of work that we like to do. But at the same time, when I'm speaking to the client about these bunkers, I am asking questions like, do you know something I don't? Time now is 8:52. The meeting is at 9 a.m. We're going to head in. But of course, the work continues at the yard. What's it to the fence?
2.4 meter.
So we can get a decent sized machine in. But then 2.4, then the dumper is going to need to dump on the front drive. Yeah, the arch isn't a problem. That'll have to come down. We'll put something temporary here for security. And then down the side of the house. Back at the yard now. The meeting earlier went extremely well. Already had a conversation with our structural engineer, and we are not going for an underground bunker to withstand nuclear fallout. In fact, it will be a basement which is about 1,600 square foot and a swimming pool. The trouble is, at the back of that house on all three sides, we're very close to the neighbors. So we're going to have 3-party wall agreements. I spoke to the client about stepping in the basement on all three sides, a meter away from the boundary, which is fine. But of course, those people in those houses, we're basically digging underneath their houses. One of the houses is very close to the boundary, and they are obviously going to have reservations, and they're going to want the party wall surveyor to take pictures and probably do some monitoring. So if anything did happen to their house in the worst case scenario, it can be rectified on completion of the works. Probably the biggest challenge with the job was trying to work out how, in fact, we were going to get a machine in the back. There's going to be a lot of digging to do there, but we measured down the side, and I think that we can fit a 5-ton machine. The client said they want the basement to finish at a height of 2.4 to match the existing property. At 2.4, if we count a 200 mil recess in the ceiling, and then we count the slab, and then underneath that we count flooring, underlay, screed, underfloor heating, the slab, any membrane, we're going to end up probably digging down about 3.7 to do it. We're not going to do that with shovels. So we're going to need to get the biggest machine we can in to excavate as quickly as possible while we put in some temporary works to make sure we don't have a crazy landslide and all the earth around, and therefore houses keep shifting. But the engineer will plan all of that for us because, of course, it will be on his professional indemnity insurance. And on the subject of property, let's head to the refurbishment project, where we are tackling the tiles in the bathroom, the guttering, and a few other areas. To be exact, we're working on the lower level floor tiles, which are 1200mm by 1200mm. We use a gel adhesive suitable for large format tiles in white, so the colour does not bleed through and stain the tiles. 3 of the 4 tiles we're laying in this area need to be cut, as we want to line up the grout line centrally with both the entrance door and freestanding bathtub. We clean the bottom of the tile from dust, then apply adhesive evenly to both the tile and floor. We fit one, ensure it's level, fit the remaining, and then use the spacer twist levelers to ensure they align perfectly with each other. Then we move to the higher level, where the freestanding bath will sit. The riser to get to this level will also be tiled, so we miter both edges to have them meet seamlessly. Externally, we're fitting guttering to a small roof section, which previously did not have guttering, which caused damp issues on the brickwork. Paint the timber, and then fix to the brickwork. We're using 5-inch black PVC deep flow guttering and need to fix support brackets at 600mm intervals. We fit the end caps, install the section of guttering, and the next step will be a downpipe to the drains below. It's Thursday, and I'm in the yard. I'm standing on top of the new non-haz pile in between the old yard under slab, and we are ready for a train tomorrow. I'd say we've probably got 4 full train loads up in this area and probably another 3 down there. We continue to fill the area till we get as close to the screenable material as possible, which will start processing once more of the 6F5 is gone. But it is lovely from up here, looking at all the material and the lovely slab which is dried. And it helps that the weather is good. I had a call earlier with one of my friends in St. Lucia from the quarry you saw me in. Shout out Will Rock Quarry. And we were discussing machines, and he was talking me through the specifications. At the quarry, they have Volvo and Cats. Caterpillar have a branch where you can buy parts in Barbados, which isn't that far from St. Lucia. Now, the quarry are one of the only ones that have Volvo machines, so they've got themselves a diagnostic computer that they can also use on the lorries as well. But what they did say to me was,
in the Caribbean, they tend to try and stay away from the newer models because they got too many sensors on them.
Originally, they bought brand new, but the ideal age now is something from 2010 to 2015 because they've got less sensors on them and they just work, and you can buy parts for them and they're a lot more mechanical as opposed to digital. I asked the question as another friend of mine asked me if our Liebherr 914 was for sale. They were thinking of shipping it to St. Lucia because they know it's been looked after, because that's another problem when you're trying to import a machine in the Caribbean. You don't know how someone's treated the machine and all you've got is a load of pictures. But I have had to steer him away from it and said, I'd love to sell you my machine at the right price, of course, but you're not going to get any after-sale support or manage to get any bits from Liebherr. And if you do have a problem, there's no one to plug in, and you're going to be speaking to someone in a different country, in a different time zone, who's going to be sending you drawings and could possibly send you the wrong part, which is going to be astronomical to send within a couple of days, taking into account all of the air freight, and it still might not be right and you might not get the machine going. While I've never had a Volvo machine in the yard, I am recommending that my friend goes for a Volvo, and I can introduce him to my friends at Will Rock Quarry, and then they should be able to look after the machine and at least diagnose what the problems are relatively quickly so they can keep it running. As my townie would say,
Keep her lit.
I can see down the bottom. As always, we are consistent and we have more concrete to pour. Back at the refurbishment project, we are back in the master ensuite, but this time working on the ceiling. The shower head has been fitted into place, and we need to finish flush with tiles to match the rest of the ceiling. It's a bit of a puzzle, so we assemble at floor level first as a dress rehearsal, and then install one piece at a time. Each time one section is fitted, we slot in our 4x2 timber and the telescopic drywall supports you normally see us use to fit plasterboards to hold in place. We leave this in overnight, and by the morning it will be secure. We're now going to lift out the wheel wash as we continue to prepare in this section. Looking over this side, you can see the markers in place for the second line of slabs, which we're going to put in once the slab on the other side has dried, to make sure that we can always get in and out in lorries and continue to work. It's Friday and I'm in the yard, just walking the train track, ensuring that our points are working well. There we go. And I don't need to use too much bass in my voice or biceps to make it switch. Click here to watch a video when we had our first loco in and I told everybody what really happened. We had a little bit of a mechanical problem. So I'm just making sure that the rail is sliding on the plates and it's nice and flush here, because the smallest of millimeters can affect the wheels of the locomotive and the wagons. And as we intend on putting 10 wagons on this secondary line today and having the loco switch over, it's very important that we do that now. But of course, while I'm doing this, we have concrete to pour. I spent most of my morning compiling the notes from the job that we looked at yesterday. I had to send information to our architect Sam and also to the structural engineer. I took pictures of the garden from all 4 angles and a couple of other ones where I believe the staircase needs to come down from the property. Also, some of the discussions I had with the client about how the area is going to be divided, the size of the swimming pool, and the area around the property, the 1 meter we're going to have from the boundary wall on all sides, and pictures of how close the neighboring properties actually are, because that is going to affect it massively. At this stage, I've only asked Sam to take a look at making planning drawings. There's no point in doing full building control and construction drawings, because you never know what's going to happen at planning and everything could change. Look at what's happening to us at the refurbishment project in the pool house. But the structural engineer, he's going to have to do a lot, because we are going to need some temporary works to support. Imagine how far we're going to have to dig down. It's probably going to be about 3.7. With all the neighboring properties around, we don't want everything to slide in and make everybody's house all around collapse and everybody hate the name Ashville in construction. So the temporary works are going to be extremely important. What I'm going to do is get in the cost of all the fees, apply rough figures. I know how much the shell and core of a basement is going to take to build. I'll use an estimation based on previous projects of the fit out costs, and then I'm going to speak to the swimming pool specialist, probably the same ones we're talking to about the pool house. But the key with this swimming pool is the company who are going to provide the system of the floating floor, which is going to rise when the pool isn't being used. This isn't something that we've done before, truth be told. It's outside our area of expertise, but as the principal contractor, we're going to bring someone in who is going to do this system. And I have to be very careful which one I put forward. You can't just go for the cheapest one, because this is something the client is going to have indefinitely, and when they sell this house, someone's going to inherit it. It's got to be a system which is built strong to last long and is easy to use, and of a company who we can get parts from in the future if it's required. Now, I don't know if this system is going to be completely electric or hydraulic or air over hydraulic. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's very important to the client because they have a young child who's 8 years old and they don't trust having a cover over the pool. They want it to become part of the patio. So an exciting job, which the team are putting together. So a day well spent. The sun is extremely hot. We're preparing to pour more concrete. And any minute, the train will be coming into the yard at long last. Hold on, Si, hold on. We're mid offload. No, don't stand there. No, come here, Si. No, come here. Our plan for all the loading of the train hasn't changed, but when the trains come in, the shunter has said that we are allowed to leave the train out on the main line up to the signal. So we haven't actually had to move anything onto the secondary line at the moment. We're filling the wagons directly behind the loco, albeit they're the most beat down wagons that we've ever seen in our life. They're coming down with tooth decay. So the capacity of these ain't 75, is it? What's it? 68. And then if we need to get off the main line where the signalling is, then we can pull into the yard. But at the moment, everything is calm and under control because of all the prep work that went in, isn't it, Si? Even my townie's standing around watching.
You want me to say something now that you edit, you?
Say that again?
I said, you want me to say something that you got to edit?
No, I'd prefer you didn't, actually.
No, well, then go away.
All right. These are the lads who borrowed us the cement when we were completely boxed in, and now they're coming in to collect cement, and we are returning the favour. So thank you, Quick Meats.
It's Saturday, not in the yard. I'm working from home. The work happening in the yard today is pouring concrete, digging the trench I spoke about earlier in the week, running ducts, and trying to backfill. I spent this morning drawing out layouts and looking online at best practices and best ways to use space in extremely small one-bedroom apartments, which are anything between 500 square foot and 600 square foot. Trying to map out some of the bedrooms to ensure they have fitted wardrobes, bedside cabinets, somewhere to work, and a reasonable sized bed without opening the door of the room and hitting the person in the head who's trying to get some sleep. It's actually quite fun when you get going. I didn't actually get on to the living areas with the open plan kitchen yet. I was just focusing in the bedroom. Then I took a break from it because I went a bit brain dead. And then I started putting together a kit list of a job that we're going to be starting in about 6 months. Now, it is not a job that we need to win because we're doing it no matter what. I'll say that without giving away too much, because me talking too much too early has got me in hot water in the past, which I'll go on to in a minute. I'm not going to be using any of the kit we've got at the moment, and there's some new kit we're going to get, like that bunion striker that the lads are using in the yard to do the concrete. That is a great bit of kit. We need a new poker. We're going to need a slightly bigger all-terrain forklift. I think we're going to need another 20-ton machine. I'm going to make a switch and not use the manufacturer which we were using previously, and I'm going to go over to a new one that we haven't actually used in the past, which some of you in the comments for many years have said,
Why are you not using these type of machines?
and in the past few weeks, I've been thinking and I've been sharing those thoughts about the videos, about the volume of videos and the weekly show. Last night, I was out, and on 2 separate occasions, people came up to me and they told me the difference that the videos had made in their life. One of them does concrete and he's around the corner from one of my friends. So when he was telling me that he's getting some of their work, I was a bit compromised there, like not going to say any names of companies or anything like that. But, good luck. It's all fair competition and there's enough out there for everyone. But the other gentleman, he said when he first began to watch the videos, it opened his eyes. And previously, when himself and his brother, whenever they got hold of any money, they would purchase objects of magic, a nice watch or nice clothes, or They didn't ever think that it was possible to get into the construction industry without having learned it at school or without having a trade. And they started a company and they bought their first house for 180 grand. I was playing it cool on the outside, but in the inside I was like, wow, like that has genuinely made a difference. Like I have made a difference just by documenting what I'm doing. And when you see things like that and you hear the feedback, it makes it all worth it. But Ashville Weekly is going to come to an end at episode 250, guys. I apologize, but I can no longer continue the videos at this frequency and take the next steps into the next chapter of Ashville. You've seen over the past few months, I have been letting down the air on the tires slowly. And next week, there'll be even more. The silo will hopefully be going. Stella Scaffold will be back in to take down the scaffolding of the workshop because there's so much kit gone. We don't really need it. Matani and I will be on the road looking at bits of kit that I was describing earlier for the project that's going to start in 6 months. And a lot of the kit going and a lot of the things you've seen happening in the yard and the new partnership, they've all been done to kind of give me some breathing space and an element of freedom that I haven't had for the past 20 years. I've had a ball and chain around my neck by my own doing. It's my doing. I did that. But sometimes you look at something and you think that is what I want for my life, because if it was like that, then I would be happy because I would feel accomplished. And then you get it and you think to yourself, no, this isn't for me. But then on that journey, you learn so much which you can take with you, and moving forward, you can make more calculated decisions. And the calculated decision I'm making now is that with the next project, if you would like to call it that, if I document it in real time as I've done in the past, it will hinder what I'm doing and stand in the way. I've lost work because of the videos. I've had blockers put on me because of the videos. I've had HMRC, I've had the council, the police, I've had every local authority landing on top of me, and it's caused a lot of problems in the past. That being said, of course, the videos have helped the Ashville brand get out there into the wide world, because at one point I was just a geezer in the yard with a bunch of lorries, and now I'm a geezer in the yard without a bunch of lorries, but has the experience of the lorries and the turmoil and the ups and downs and the problems with sites and setting up sites repeatedly and building NHBC new builds and converting houses into flats and property development and machines and everything that you've seen happening over the past 5 years and everything the 15 years before that. The new chapter, there are people involved in it who don't look at the videos in the same way either I or you would. I understand we are in a digital age. There are people who fully make a living out of being a creator, but there's another sector of people who don't look at it in the same way, and they feel that it's a hindrance, and I have to respect their wishes. Because if I'm involved in a project with other people, by me shedding light on the project, I'm actually shedding light on them at the same time also. This is not the end. It is going to be a break in weekly videos, and there will be standalone videos like a showcase of the penthouse project, the garden in the £15 million house. We've got a back catalogue of about 11 videos which the team never got a chance to edit, because of the resource it takes to edit these videos and make sure that we get them out no matter what on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m, which we have been doing for 5 years. I swear that must be some sort of record. Now, there's no guarantee when I return with videos at an increased frequency again, like we're doing now. There's no guarantee the algorithm will pick it up, and there's no guarantee that some of you guys will watch again, because you may have found someone else that you like to watch, or your life may have moved on, or you may have just lost interest, or
This geezer done a runner and now he's back. I'm not spending the time to watch him.
but that is something I'm gonna have to take on my shoulders for the reasons which I've already discussed. And in spite of me having to deliver that bad news, what I think is bad news, and what's happened in the past 18 months,
I've lost everything.
I'm actually in the best place I've ever been. Mentally, physically, and with my decision making. I'm completely clear. I'm not running around firefighting every 20 minutes. I'm not taking on a new line of business for the sake of it because one client needs it. I'm not having to manage 100 staff and internal squabbles, and this one doesn't like that one and this one. When you deal with all of these things on a daily basis, it affects you and it takes from your energy, and sometimes it clouds the vision that you have for yourself and the plan and where you actually want to be, because your head is down in the sand like an ostrich or a dodo and you can't see in front of you. I will again address it in episode 250, but 250 once again will be the last Ashville Weekly in its current form for the time being. And that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 249. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here, subscribe to our channel. Click down here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before. And click down here for last week's episode, which was number 249.